welcome to another week of fun. Well, fun is subjective. Wow, it's off to a great start, guys. Fun is subjective, I guess. Thanks to everyone who has been supporting me and reaching out. I'm finally back into the swing of things, and to all the new listeners, welcome, and thanks for checking it out. This podcast would not exist without you all. I mean, technically it would, but that's besides the point. You all keep it fun for me, and the support keeps me doing crazy shit like having the strangest internet search histories. To be fair, I have also learned so much, so it's kind of a win-win for me. So, with all the pleasantries out of the way, it's time to get down to it. And if the sound sounds a little weird today, I'm actually recording in my bedroom this time instead of usually I record in my bathroom. I am a horrible person and I have a mic stand that is literally just um a vase that I put the mic on, and I was cleaning and I moved something the wrong way, smacked the vase off of where it was resting, and then the vase shattered to the ground. So I'm officially out of mic stand. I've been looking into getting a new mic, but they're expensive as fuck. So that might be a while before I do that. So let's get down to it. So I was always under the illusion that your first time was supposed to be this beautiful experience with someone you love and sunshine and happiness and no awkwardness at all. But that is not always the case. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's pretty rarely the case. And before I get messages saying you lost it to the love of your life, I said rarely. I did not say never. Sit back down, Brenda. Now, originally, sorry, not originally, virginity is a big moral and religious thing, and there are people out there who wait until marriage before giving themselves to a person. The concept of virginity has significance only in a particular, social, cultural, and moral context. Traditionally, there was a cultural expectation that a female would not engage in premarital sex, and it would, um, she would come to her wedding a virgin, and she would give up her virginity to her husband. In some cultures, an unmarried female who is found not to be a virgin, whether by choice or not, can be subject to shame, ostracism, even honor killing, which is insane to me, but whatever. There is so much out there on how a woman's virginity is and was viewed as this sacred thing. There is a lot. There is so much out there, guys. Like, I'm sure we have all heard of sacrificing virgins to please certain gods. Um, or, for certain rituals, the sacrifice of a virgin or needs virgin blood. Now, historically, and even now, female virginity has been looked at as being way more significant than male virginity. Sure, let our virginity be valued higher, but don't pay us equally or treat us as equal human beings. But whatever. In some countries, men are expected or even encouraged to want to have sex or be more experienced. It's kind of like how there's this huge double standard that a man who slept with 100 women is seen as a hero or a legend, but a woman who slept with 100 men is seen as a whore or used goods. The amount of times I've exchanged numbers of partners with someone and they've made me feel bad, or at least tried to make me feel bad about my number, it's not super high either. It's not like this ridiculous number. But like it's higher than it should be. Like, the amount of times that this has happened is higher than it should be. People should not be judging you based on your sexual history. Like, get the fuck over it, guys. It happens. You should be happy. Sorry. Um, and I feel no shame in my sexual history, and I shouldn't. If a man can be proud of it, then I should be able to also be proud of it. End of fucking story. I think that the value we place on virginity is pointless. If someone wants to stay a virgin forever, then that's their decision. I think that you should at least wait until you can make a solid decision before, you fuck somebody. But I am not out here to police anyone's body, and I don't think anyone should tell you what to do with your own body. So, I'm also not saying you should be like 10 years old or 11 years old and having sex. Make fucking sound decisions, people. Come on. While I'm down for people waiting for that special someone to lose their virginity to, or even those who choose to stay virgin forever, here are people who are not those people. Because this time I was able to get stories, and you know what? I was really happy about this. Uh, holy shit. My own story is I was 19 when I lost my virginity. I didn't really date too much in high school, and it wasn't on my brain really to do that. So, I waited, and I'll be honest, it was in a snowstorm. My car got stuck in the driveway. Um, I think he was out of a relationship. I can't remember. I might have ruined a relationship, but whatever. I was 19 and stupid, guys. Um, it was fine. Pretty sure I lost it to a Taylor Swift song, so there's that. And I mean, it wasn't this beautiful, magical, lovely moment. It was a moment. It hurt. It was over. And that was it. And I texted my best friend literally the minute it was done. I was like, yeah, guess what? And then that was that. Like, it wasn't this, like, amazing, beautiful thing. I ended up marrying this person, and then after that, after we got divorced, I went, full kind of whore and slept with a ton of people in between then and now. So, um, that was my story. Not really like a super intriguing, wonderful story, but it's at least, a story. So, here are a few stories of people who decided to share with me. Um, It was 3 weeks before my 16th birthday. He was the captain of the football team, and we decided one night while he was staying over to play a game of truth or dare. He was friends with my younger brother, and it was a dare. Everyone in the house was sleeping. It lasted about 5 minutes. He got on top and started going at it missionary style. About 5 minutes into it, he said that he was tired and wanted me to get on top. I looked at him and said, no thanks. We put our clothes back on and fell asleep in my room. The next morning, I felt like a new woman, though I was only 15 and he was 13, and we've never talked since. I was 15. He's a guy I had known most of my life and always had a crush on. We started dating, and I would sneak out of my great grandpa's house at night to meet him. Happened in his truck in my grandpa's driveway. We actually dated again when I was 20, but only briefly because I was a whore. I love that you were a whore. That's so good. Um, I was 15 and it was Christmas break. My boyfriend and I had been dating a few months at the time. He had a waterbed. It was the typical shaky and awkward first time. Then his mom came home to check on him. Unbeknownst to me, he'd called her 20 times before I got there to make sure she was at work. I was only halfway dressed when she walked in. His mom took one look at us and slapped him across the face. He had a handprint almost immediately. Then she called and told my mom, and I ended up grounded for 3 months. It was funny now, but I was mortified then. I would be mortified too if my mother smacked somebody in the face. 15 was with my boyfriend at the time. It was so awkward. I actually barely remember it at all. All I remember is Tool was playing in the background, which was fitting because he turned out to be a total tool. Well, a couple of days later, my mom was out of town and I started having burning pee and blood in my pee. I wasn't close with my dad, so I didn't tell him. When my mom got home, I told her I thought I had a bladder infection and she immediately knew what I had done. Because I waited so long to get medical attention, I ended up with a kidney infection and at Children's Hospital. So, yeah, it was a horrible experience, and the guy ended up breaking up with me the following week. Oh my god. Dudes, pee after you have sex. I know that you don't know that when you're 15, but do that and it helps a little bit. It was the summer of my sophomore year, so I was 16. I was dating the guy for 10 months, and we'd been doing everything else besides actual sex for that 10 months. So we're camping with his huge family slash extended family up in the mountains on some lake. My mom let me go under the condition that I was to sleep in my own tent separate from my boyfriend. Well, it was raining like a motherfucker on the first day and nights, and my tent ended up flooding that first night, so I couldn't sleep in it. So my boyfriend's parents said I could sleep in his tent with him, just not to tell my mom. Needless to say, we got naked that night and got busy. Then when we woke up in the morning, he wanted to go again, so there we were, humping like bunnies to the sounds of his family walking around outside, stoking the campfire and making breakfast. Right before the end, he was really going fast and shaking the shit out of the tent, and I told him to go slower, otherwise his family will know what we're doing. He said, "I don't care," right as he busted a nut. That's fucking funny. What a thing to say after busting a nut. Holy shit. Ugh. I was 14, December of my freshman year, and it was with this guy I'd been hanging out with for a couple of months. He pressured me into it, then told me I was doing it wrong the whole time. Then the next day at school, he laughed at me and called me names. It's okay though. I saw him a few years back. I'm fairly successful in life, and he's a massive drug addict. Hashtag karma. Absolutely hashtag karma. Holy shit. Um, my first time was in a fucking stack of hay. It's not romantic, ladies. It's itchy, it's fucking pokey, and you'll find it in places you don't want it. My first time fucking sucked. So don't have sex on hay, guys. Don't do it. Lost mine to my older brother's best friend. They lived together. I was being a petty teenager and trying to make my brother's ex-girlfriend jealous because she and my brother broke up over her having a thing for his friend. It was supposed to be a joke, but it ended up happening anyway. My best friend at the time had a huge crush on him, which I did not know. They ended up dating not long after. Oops. I was 18. There were rumors going around that my boyfriend had slept with a girl who slept with a guy who might have HIV. So I made him get tested before we had sex. Even his mom knew I had asked him to get tested. He wasn't happy, but he did it. I remember going over to his house after he got his result, and he was laying on the floor in an Adidas tracksuit. Soccer player. This was hot shit back then. Rolling change. So then we did it in his waterbed. I really have no complaints because he made sure I was happy too, and he was 16. My first love. And then I do have one last story. It's just going to take me a minute to find it, but that's fucking funny. So those were some pretty decent stories. Like it's nice to get those stories. I love hearing them. I love reading them. Some of them are just fucking hilarious. Um and it was great. Um, so the last story that I'm going to have for you is actually from a guy. So the majority of the stories that I got were from girls. Um, but this one is from a dude. 16, sophomore year, sort of my middle school crush slash we were girlfriend boyfriend for like 2 weeks. She was one of the hotties for sure. We were pretty drunk for sophomores at least. She had a boyfriend at the time. I was there when she said goodnight to him. I knew I wasn't a fan. I knew him. I wasn't a fan, but still, I was a virgin. It was sloppy. Think I put on a few condoms during the whole thing because who knows? I mean, it was kind of intense, but drunk and sloppy in our best friend's basement. Topped it off with a late scare. She was hot. Whatevs. Just wish I knew then what I know now. Would have rocked her world. Maybe I still did. I know she probably got a concussion. It was on the floor and her head was hitting something. Like, all these stories, see, as I stated, they're not always these beautiful, wonderful moments. They're messy. They're sloppy. They're, some of them are dirty. They are just, they're not perfect moments. There's, I don't, unless someone can tell me a perfect first time moment, I have not, there's not a lot of my moment was perfect the first time. That's just, it's not a thing. So, what I want people to take out of this is if you're listening to this and you are a virgin, I don't, I mean, my brain explodes anyways, but like, you don't need to put the pressure on yourself for it to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to like try to make things like set candles and set the mood and set music. It's even as an adult now, and I've had sex a lot, even the first time with a new partner, it's not always great, or it's not always beautiful. It can be messy. I've definitely had my fair share of drunk first times. Uh don't put pressure on yourself. There's no pressure. Like, thinking that it has to be this perfect beautiful moment will get you in your own brain and could fuck you up. So, taking away from this, just chill it down a notch. And with that, um, that's it for this subject matter. But I have news. So I have been working on getting an interview, and it's going to be the next episode that's going to come out after this one. Hopefully, as long as I can get everything recorded and ready to go. I posted a little bit briefly on Instagram about it. And if you aren't following the Instagram, please fucking go do that. Because I post updates and let people know when new episodes are out. And it's fantastic. And you can also message me on there. And whatever. Anyways, so the interview that I'm doing is someone that I do know personally. And it is going to be an episode titled Interview with a Dom. So when I started this new format and when I started thinking ahead of different episodes that I wanted to do, I really wanted to delve a little bit into the BDSM side of things. There's a whole shit ton of stuff. Like, there's so much stuff. Like, I know I have a couple episodes coming up at some point that I wrote out for different fetishes and kinks and stuff. So this was one that I wanted to really cover. And I just so happened to know someone who is in that lifestyle. So I reached out and I wanted to see if it was okay if I interviewed him for this. And he said it was fine. So my plan, hopefully, is next week there will be the new episode, depending on when I can get together to record the interview. And it'll be interesting. I sent over about 25, 26 questions. He's going to, go through them, make sure that I'm not overstepping some boundaries. And I'm really, really excited about it. It's going to be fantastic. So just keep an eye out for that. Thank you guys so much for listening and following and sharing and all that fun jazz. So definitely keep listening. It's on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Blueberry. It's I have the Instagram, which is This Could Be a Trainwreck. The email, which I have actually fucked up in previous episodes, and it's This Could Be a Trainwreck at gmail.com. I'm going to include everything in the description so you can go from there, send emails, send stories. If you want to share a first time story that's actually beautiful, then I will include it at the end of a future episode. Absolutely. Any stories that I get after I've already recorded episodes, I'm going to include in future episodes as well. I'm just going to Or I'll even come out with a whole episode just based off of stories. It's not even going to have a subject matter at all, just be literally listener stories. So, thank you. Have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, night, etc. Whenever you're listening to this, keep listening, keep sharing, keep being fucking train wrecks of people. I love you guys. And thanks so much. And tune in next week. And if not, then I have another episode that I will air, that I'll record in between to kind of like offset just in case I don't get the interview done ahead of time. But I'm working on it. So, all right. Thank you guys. Take it easy.